Action. So just like with the last class, if you got questions, certainly ask them. But today we're going to be talking again about, how to build some applications. And this time we're going to be using the tool called Cursor. And I'm going to show you how you can host it on a website called Vercel. The first part of the lecture today will be, a slide deck, and then we're going to get into the actual program later on. And, at the end, we'll make sure that you've got, links to these resources so that you can continue learning on your own after this. But today we're going to be working on a very simple application for Windows events. It's called the Windows Event Logger AI assistant. And as you can see, it's got some basic functionality. You can search for Windows Event IDs, search for descriptions, upload data, PDFs or CSVs. Maybe you've got some event IDs that you've saved somewhere and you want to be able to get some more context on them. And that's what this application is all about, helping the analyst, right, quickly look up Windows event IDs to help them when they're trying to do triage and investigations. Now, the good thing about this lecture is that you don't have to be a programmer, right? AI has really made a lot of strides in coding, right? And the tool we'll be using today is called Cursor AI. And this is, they say it's the AI first code editor. They're basically saying that you can chat with your coding program, your IDE, or you could just speak to it, right? Even with voice to text, and it'll actually, start to create a program, right, with your thoughts, which is pretty impressive. So Cursor is going to let us do it, and it's on the back end. It has its own AI large language model, but if you want to, you can of course use the tools like ChatGPT or Claude and choose between those to help you do your coding as well. And Cursor is free. There is a free tier, to help get you started. And then they've got a couple of paid tiers as well. They got like a pro monthly subscription and a business one as well. And if you are super proud of your applications that you're going to be making in the future, or whatever you think of, right, you can host it for free on Vercel and turn your local app into a web application, which is pretty cool. So Cursor AI, again, this is going to be an AI first platform. And on the left, you see you've got your code base, right? And then on the right, you've got, the tool called the Composer. And the Composer is where you type into Cursor what you want it to do, and it's going to start to create the code for you automatically and do lots of the work for you automatically, which is pretty cool. Now on the front end, right, websites have a front end and a back end. The front end is what we interact with, and we'll be using a bunch of different components, hero icons to make it visual to the user. We've got our React framework, which is going to be handling the user interface, some of the event logging functionality, document uploads. The Next.js is also going to be used for routing, our data flow. We can use an API to do send and pushes and gets and pulls with the Next.js as well. Tailwind and TypeScript are also used to, again, make it modern, make it clean, make it responsive so that your app will work on a web page, but also work on a tablet and render and scale according to whatever screen you are using. And there is TypeScript. Again, really good for making code quality and also trying to enhance your code safety, right? Because again, these things will be out on the web, so we're going to be aware of web attacks. Now on the back end, right, if you really want to keep on going and expand your functionality, we can do things like bring in a database. One of the ones that I recommend is Supabase. Again, it's free, and you can start to host your data there, right? Maybe you've got users, maybe you want to put these event logs in that online database. You can do that as well. And you can pull and refresh whenever you need to get this new data. Git is for your code changes, version control, really good in case you have a uh-oh moment, right? You can always revert back with Git. And then Vercel, again, is going to be our hosting platform. It is free, but you will need, to sign up. You can authenticate via GitHub or email. They got a couple of options, but again, it's built to work with the technology that we're going to be working with today. So for the operating system requirements, we can use Windows, we can use Linux, we can use Mac. It doesn't really matter. And but we need to install Node, right? Node JavaScript. And this is the cross-platform that's going to let us build our applications. And you can see the commands in the right here. You got Node V, npm, npx, and you would run those after you, install the Node software. It's a pretty quick install. I'll include the link for you here. Like I said, it does work across all of your environments. And then here is just a screen of me showing you that you can host your application on the web using Vercel's hosting platform, right? Again, you can choose whatever you want to host it, but Vercel is free. I thought you'd like the price of free. And then at the bottom left where you see the actual command line, those are the commands that you could type in at the command line to install this, right, on the back end. And it's a pretty quick install, right? You just type in npm, right? Install gvercel. You then commit your code base to Git, so you've got your version control. And then once you do that, we can then deploy to Vercel, and you're seeing that on the animated image on the right-hand side. Now, for our application, we will be using some files. These are going to be some of the Windows Event IDs that we can use that we can use to populate our program. So again, this is all on the web. This is where I got my stuff. And what I'm going to do is make sure you have a link to my README page where you can get all of these files to work on your version of this application if you would like. But again, a lot of good stuff that we use when it comes to doing triage and detection. If you are doing any type of investigation, if you're working as an analyst, right? And you want to see what's going on that endpoint and what's that bad actor doing. And then this is just a screen of me just getting the environment set up. As you see, it's a pretty quick install. Once you get your Node.js installed, I'm just typing in the command npx create-next app, because this is going to use the next JavaScript, and I'm going to give it the name of my application. In our example, it's called Event Logger. I then press enter and I say yes to proceed, and I'm okay with the defaults, right? I'm going to be doing TypeScript, ESLint, Tailwind, no for the source, and then A for the router. And it takes about 30 seconds, 40 seconds, depending on your machine. And you've got your backend basically up and running. And it says, hey, you've got a couple of warnings, no big deal. They're saying, you know what, at this current point in time, you might want to upgrade, right? Just because some of the stuff will no longer be supported or support is going away. We've got our backend set up here. Now let's actually move to our IDE, right? Our cursor application. Here's what that looks like. I'm going to go to cursor and just go to open folder. And now I'm going to navigate right to where I want to begin my coding. So here I just open up my event logger folder that I just created. And this is the basic, right? There's nothing there, right? But this is where we're going to be actually doing our development of the application. And then one thing you can do as well is, let's say that you have all of your requirements, you know exactly what your application is going to do, you know how it's going to look. Well, you can make a file, called a build requirements or a requirements, right? And your cursor program is going to go through this document that you created, and it's going to use it right as its instructions, which will save you time when it comes to building your application here. Got it, Ed. Okay. But that's the idea, right? So I can build it, give it my instructions, and I can add it, I can change it as I need to. But this can save you time And again, I will be including this, when I give you some of my files here. So here it is. Let me give you this. There you go. So we've done that. Now let's go ahead and just take a look at what it would look like inside of Cursor. So this is the build requirements. All I did was basically copy and paste into Cursor, made a new file called build requirements.md, which is short for Markdown. Here I'm showing you a mock-up, right? I want my application to look like this, and we'll be using that later on. So I'm just scrolling down here, just saying, you know what? This is what I want my actual program to look like. These are the components. This is the functionality. So if a person goes on search, this is what's going to happen, right? And again, you can do this in the background, or you can do it in real time. Cool thing about Cursor is that it gives you both of those. And again, this is the README. This includes everything you will need to get up and running in case you want to continue, making your idea come true. And there's the link there in the chat. But again, it walks you through, how to install it, what you need on the back end, setting up your environment, cloning your code if you want to, right? And extending it. And I also include a bunch of links to some Windows events that you can use in your logs in both Markdown and CSV format, all stuff that I coupled together from the web here. But again, this will help you get up and running, pretty quickly.
Yeah, I just joined. I was asking, so this is like the steps to create an app?
Yes, sir. That's right. Yep. So most times when you are in GitHub, right, or any type of coding tool, right, you want to leave notes for someone so that they can follow along. And we call that the README file. And that's what you're looking at right here. So this is the README, basically the steps to get you up and running.
And that's what you dropped. That's the link you dropped in the chat just now, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And one other cool thing about Cursor, so just like with your Chat GPT and your other mainstream large language models, is that it might not know everything, right? And there's a good chance that it doesn't. But if you want to give it some instructions or some more context, you can give it that, right? So Cursor has a feature called docs. You would just go to the Cursor settings and you can add a new doc. And what you do is just basically link it to a web page, and then Cursor is going to scrape that page and pull back the information it needs, right, to be able to supplement its knowledge. Like maybe there's an API that you want to use, or maybe there is some documentation to give you reference. Well, Cursor can pull that in and again enhance its own knowledge, right? So to help you build the program that you want. Because again, it does know a lot, but it doesn't know everything. Again,
so these links, can you drop in the chat?
They're in the presentation that Ann put in the and again, this is the screenshot of just me showing you that I've imported a couple of different links that I would think Cursor could use to help build out its program, give it some understanding, again, to enhance the functionality of the program, right? So again, all of this is going to be in that README on the GitHub that I dropped in earlier. That, and of course, the presentation as well. Everything is in there. Okay, so we've now given our program some context, some background, which is cool. So it's got some more knowledge that it can use. And then right here, I'm just saying, you know what? I want to choose a design, right? So here, I've taken a screenshot of the program and I said, you know what? I want you to use this, right, for the interface. So when you are building out the page, use this. And all I'm doing is referencing it to a screenshot that I took earlier. So if there's a page that you like or some type of design that you want for inspiration, right, you can do it. And the cool thing you're seeing here is that Cursor is multimodal, which means that you can give it input of text, you can give it input of images, and it's going to pull that back and be able to parse it and return results.
What you just typed in just now, that's on Cursor AI?
Again, yeah, I am in the environment, and I'm saying, hey, you know what? Use this image. I want you to use this to make the app look good. And again, this video is just me using that same build requirements document I made earlier. And I'm saying, hey, use these instructions to build the program. So again, I've already done the work ahead of time. Now I want you to build. And this is the cursor composer feature. And it's going to go ahead and start to do the coding for you automatically. Now, again, there's going to be some hand holding here, but it's going to start to build it for you. And if you're looking closely on the left-hand side, you can see all the files. Well, as Cursor is starting to build its code base, it's going to start to create different components and different pages of the application. So right there, it just made the search bar feature for us so that we can type in event IDs. And now I said, continue, right? So it did its first part. Now it's going to continue, again, based off of those build requirements that we dropped in earlier. And that's what's really cool about it, right? We can save a lot of time. And then right here, we're looking at on the screen that it's saying, hey, if you want to get a certain set of icons for your user interface, well, you need to install these dependencies, right? This package on the back end. So what I've done is I am attempting to install Shad CN, which is basically a user interface of icons, dashboards, a lot of graphics that I can use for my page. And as you see, right, I'm working back and forth with Cursor to try to resolve one of my issues or one of my errors, because you'll see, just like with coding in real life, you're going to have to handhold and troubleshoot it to resolve those errors. And we'll talk about that in the next slide here. But again, once I fix my typos, right, we're going to be able to move forward here. And then, right, if I go up a little bit, you can see here, I've got some errors, and that's okay, right? You're going to get errors. But the cool thing is, don't get frustrated. The cool thing about these tools is that, just like with ChatGPT or with Claude or any of the other ones, right, I can paste in my error and it can attempt to resolve the error, right? Now you see I pasted that in and I got a new thing that's saying, hey, my page is missing an element, it looks, or a function. And so what I do is I paste in that error, and then it resolves it, and then my page is rendering the way I want it to be. So again, it's pretty cool, right? So you go from not working to working. But like I said, there is going to be some back and forth as you learn the tool. But again, it's really accelerating your time to development. So you can get a pretty good proof of concept, a pretty good demo, really quickly here. And then one thing to note is, right now, everything is being stored locally on my computer, right? It's localhost over port 3000. So again, we've not deployed anything to the web yet. It's just running locally off of my machine. Right? And again, here, I'm just showing you that you can troubleshoot. As you see, there is a problem with the code. My dark mode is not working properly. If you look at the little circle, right, that white circle right above the search bar, that doesn't look right. So my dark mode is not working. If I was to click it, nothing would happen in the current version. So I said, please fix that. So right now it is attempting to update the code base and fix the problem. And it's saying, hey, Ian, you need to install this Next theme package if you haven't already. So I'm checking that. I'm going to install the Next theme, and the theme's going to give the website themes and the ability to do dark mode. So I installed that, and it says, guess what? You need to install something else called your theme provider. So as you're seeing, right, it is back and forth, just like if you were coding, you would code, troubleshoot. Same here. But the difference is that, this is, doing some of that behind the scenes troubleshooting for you. So no longer having to go to that website and paste in some funky code that you might not know about, right? It's going to be doing that for you. And then, like I said, I'm just kind of going back and forth right now saying, all right, well, I'm trying this, didn't quite get it. Can you try again? And that's all you're seeing me doing, right? Is trying to get it up and running. But we do get there eventually. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. And again, right now, I'm using the composer tool where I type it and it makes the changes for me. And then think right about here is where we get it fixed. So now I've got a little icon, it looks good now. So now, my dark mode is working the way it's supposed to.
Well, you said composer tool does what again?
The composer is basically where I give cursor instructions, and it's going to go ahead and make those code changes for me. And again, here,
I can use this cursor AI anytime, or has to be in a specific environment?
You can use it within the cursor program itself. So you would download the cursor program, and then you can use the composer feature of the application. And I'm going to show you that shortly here.
This PDF has some link which is external link and asking for request.
Yeah, if you press OK, you should be able to continue.
If I click that this page, it's taking me towards some Google Doc and then asking that I have to request text.
What that doc? I'm not sure of.
The PDF I'm talking about. Yeah.
The PDF. Yeah. They will make sure you get access to it. Yep. Got it. Okay. So let's go back. Okay, here we go. So again, I'm telling it to continue building out the application, right? And here it's going to say, okay, let me pick back up where I left off, right, with this version of the program, right? And in this one, it's going to keep working on the search bar, because what I wanted to do is basically be able to add some Splunk searches or add some Microsoft Sentinel searches, so that when I look at my event ID, I can get a search that I can use in Splunk to look for that alert in the SIM. So as you see right now, right, it's working on it and working on some of the functionality. And again, we just got to keep working on it, adding more features to it as we go on. And then right about here, right about here, you can see I've added some more functionality. Now you see I've got the copy ID function in there. And now if I, was to reload and, look at some of these, I'm going to start to get some results returned as well. And then here, I'm adding some more features, right? I want to make sure that I'm going to be able to upload my Windows events, right? To add more events that I can search with. I went from having 6 events locally stored on this thing to about 1,509 Windows Event IDs as part of the application, right? And again, it was able to extract all of that data from the CSV, and that stuff, that CSV is the same one that I gave you in that GitHub README page that Ann put in the Zoom chat there. And then this last slide here is just us showing you that you can deploy your application to the web. So what it's doing is it's going to check the code, right, and make sure that it can compile, and it's going to give you a little preview screen so that when you look at your Vercel webpage, when you log in, you can get a screenshot of the current version that you took when you go to do your upload, right? And like I said, it's checking the code base. And then, right, here is, me navigating to the Vercel.com webpage. I've logged in, and as you see, right, now have my same local webpage. Now it's a web page, right? Now it's a web app. And then I could, buy my own custom domain. I could call it, ian'sEventLogger.com, right? And it would host the same application if I wanted to. So as you see, right, these tools are pretty powerful. Again, you can go from, idea to code, and then you're off to the races. So in all honesty, right, we can do a lot. So let me show you the application. I'm going to change gears here and reshare in a second. So the first thing that I want to show you is the actual web app. This is the one that you saw before. This is it. So again, this is the event logger AI assistant, right? It's got, a couple of logs for demo purposes, right? And this one, I'm getting my Splunk query as well, right? I should be able to reload here, right? Okay, so, and I can look for, certain events. If I start to type, I added the feature to automatically populate if it had data inside of there, as well, 7, 3. Again, we're like trying to think of the user and make the experience, easy for them. So that's pretty cool. I added the reset. So again, let's say you're trying to type in here and you want to, get out, you can reset it and it goes back to the empty search. Again, we got the dark mode working again properly. Again, I can upload the CSV like you saw before. The crawl website is coming at a future state. That's a work in progress, which is cool. But I wanted to show you, right, that you can keep on going, right? Keep on going with these applications. So let me show you, right, what can happen. So let me share my desktop here, desktop 1. So let's go to Cursor. All right, so we're in Cursor, right? And what I want to show you is, again, how we can start to build out our application. So again, this is an empty, and what I'm going to do is, just bring over, some of these instructions, right? So again, this is an event logging best practice app for security analysts. We want to give it some context. And then I'm giving, some of the features that I want to have. I want it to be clean, modern. The user can input a keyword such as privilege escalation. I want to add a search bar, show me Windows Event IDs. Each event ID should be able to make a SIM query. I should be able to upload, dark mode, light mode, etc. And again, same thing right here. Let the user upload a CSV of event log. So I'm just feeding the requirements, right? So before I showed you, you've got your build requirements doc that you could point to, or I can do it manually like this and start to iterate over time. And again, a couple more things here. I can let us use, download PDFs, etc., etc. And that is the idea. So let me, get started.
So you pretty much, you're saying you could just copy and paste that into the Cursor AI.
That's right.
Make
That's right.
the application for you.
That's
it'll
right.
give you.
That is the idea. You got it. All right. Let me switch to my other page here. All right. So we got localhost. So again, let me go ahead and just start. I'm going to say npm run dev. This is to get into the dev environment, and we'll just play along, right? And I'm just going to show you some of the interface, right, as what you can do once you get started here. I got a little server error here, not a problem. Just want to show you again some of the backend here. You've got your application, you got some pages. So this is the page we're looking at right here. And then you've got some of the components, right, of what the website can do. And I went ahead and added some of these ahead of time, right, as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the cool features, which is the composer. That's the thing I was showing you before. So I'm going to switch to here. I'm going to say toggle AI pane. I'm just going to move this over a little bit, give us some more room. I've got 2 features, right? I can do chat. And chat is similar to like your chat GPT. I'm just going to chat with it and it's going to give me some recommendations, some instructions, right? And again, that is manual, right? So everything it does is going to be manual. But what if I want the AI to do everything for me? That's where the composer kicks in. Now, composer makes mistakes just like any other AI tool. But again, if you trust it, hey, you can go wild with it and the composer will do its thing. Or if you want that more measured approach, that's where the chat is going to really shine. So both are cool. Both will help you get the job done. But let's take a look at, some of the composer in action here. So you saw that you saw that little notepad I brought up earlier. Now I'm just going to go into the composer and say, all right, this is the background. Right, it's an event logging app. I'm then going to give it a couple more things to get started here. All right, so here we go. This is just what you saw before, right? So we've given it a foundation. So let's go ahead and press enter, and it's going to begin to do some work. And again, sometimes it'll make mistakes, right? And you gotta troubleshoot. But as you're seeing here, right, you're seeing the code start to populate, and it's working on some of the other functionality in the background here. And at the bottom, right, it's saying, okay, I've gotten your instructions. Thank you for giving me the details. You want to make a new app with the features that you've described. Well, let's modify your app page first to get the basic file structure, and it's going to walk you through it. And it's going to say, all right, this is what I'm going to do, right? So it does it all for you, right? And again, it goes through its step-by-step thinking about what it's going to do. And it says, okay, I'm okay with that. So I'm going to press accept, and let's see if it's going to render for us. Okay, so it's saying, hey, you need to use client state. So it's saying, hey, we're expecting a server. So I'm going to say, I got an error, right? And errors are expected. This is back and forth. I'm going to say, use client, to fix this error. And again, one of the cool things about it is that I can copy and paste my error, right? And it's going to attempt to, try to fix this for me. We're going to keep on working with it. And it's okay. So looks like we fixed that first error, but look, boom, we have a new error that we're going to try to troubleshoot. So it's saying, hey, you need to install something. You got something that is missing. It says your home client is not here. And like I said, one thing you're going to do, just like with any other coding program, right, you're going to be going back and forth. And with the AI, as you know, you've got to kind of handhold it and guide it back and go forward and then check it as well. All right, so it says, I'm sorry, we placed the home client in the wrong folder, my bad, but let's go ahead and try to get you back on the right track here. All right, so here, as you're starting to see here, is that your web page is not going to render unless you, have your other backend parts ready to go or installed. So again, I can say, please fix this. So it looks like we have a problem with our CSS animation. Looks like something is missing. So please fix this and install any dependencies needed. So it's saying, all right, here's what you need to do. You need to install this Tailwind animation feature. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this code, right click copy, and I'm going to go to my command line or my terminal. I'm just going to paste that in and say, okay, so it's now installed, and look at that, accept, right? So again, basic functionality, right? Basic application, right? We're just getting started here. But again, it took my instructions. Now we have a very simple application here, right? It automatically, took my suggestion about privilege escalation, and it put that in the search bar again to, think about the user, guide them, make it easy to use, right? Low friction is the name of the game here. I see if the dark mode works. So dark mode doesn't work yet. That's okay. We can, fix that later. But again, what we can do is, let's see if this works. Not yet. I am left clicking. So not yet. So again, we've got some work to do. Let's try this 1102. All right. So we've got a nice interface, but again, nothing there yet. So again, front end is good, but we got to keep working. So what I can say is, let's say, continue building application, but I want it to look like, this. So let me show you. I went ahead and grabbed the screenshot for the interface. So here we go. I want it to look more like that. Got a nice little, bluish background, pink. I'm not sure what it is, but I can give it that. So I would say, hey, you know what? Look like this. So all I did was just paste in my little reference here. And again, it's going to, it says, thank you for the design reference. I'm going to go ahead and, consider that. And we're going to make it start to look more like that. And it's going to start to update some of the components here. And as you're starting to see, all right, it is going to start to, look more and more like that. So again, now it's changed it a little bit, right? So I'm not quite happy with the color scheme, but we're getting there. So what I can say is, let's do, let me see, I'll show you that one later. Let's get it some event IDs to populate with, right? So I'd say I want you to start to, populate Windows event IDs for reference material here, right? And then I can give it a CSV, if I wanted to. So what I can do is I should be able to, drag and drop something. So let me try that. I think I got it here somewhere. Event IDs. So I want to, add this file. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make a folder here to make it better to organize. So let me go back to here. I'm going to say new folder. I'm going to call this, reference, so that I can refer to later on. So I'm going to just drag my CSV here. All right, so you can see I've got a bunch of Windows Event IDs here. So I'm going to say, populate Windows Event IDs for reference material here. Then I can point to it. So I can say, Windows, right? Windows. And as you see, right, it's going to start to index what I'm giving it. And again, let's see what it does. Because again, it should now give us some more context here. Like we're just playing with it, the back and forth here. And what it's doing is it's going to update, these event IDs, right, to include, some of that information. And it's telling you what it's going to do now, right? So this component's going to use a state to maintain information here as well. And it's going to map through the events and display them as cards, display a message when no matching event ID is found. And there's the sim query. Let's see if it's giving us anything better yet. So that's pretty cool, right? So now I type in a 4, right? And I'm seeing my code here. So nothing found there. Let's do, 3. Okay, nothing there yet. So looks like it uploaded some of them, but not all of them. And that's okay. And let's see if this is working yet. So the sim query is not quite working. So let's say, work on the, sim query, right? The event ID should return a relevant, Splunk or Sentinel search that the analyst can use. So again, it's going to update my Windows event, right, to, bring this functionality to life. And again, if it doesn't work, then we got to play with it and figure out, which part is broken and where we can fix it. So let's just say accept all. So it says, we've gone ahead and given you some queries in a pre-formatted block. We've added copy query buttons that function the sim query to the clipboard, right? And take a look at that. I can copy, right? Copy to clipboard. Okay, so let's say you're not the most creative person, right? I need some ideas. So you said, what else would be beneficial to this program? You want some ideas. So it's saying, you could add infinite scrolling. That's something I didn't think about before. You could do some filtering based off of event source, so sev level. It's going so fast I can't even see it. But as you're starting to see, you said, that is a good idea. Maybe I should, right, bring that in as well. But it does have some pretty good ideas here, right? We can keep on scrolling, saved searches, sim query builder. So creating a more advanced event ID, even more details to make it expandable. Real-time log viewer, that's pretty cool. CSV export, customizable dashboard, full-time language support. So as you're starting to think, you're starting to think like a developer, right? Or you're working in the SOC, you're saying, what would be beneficial to my team or to my company, right? How can I streamline our efforts, right? You'd be very valuable if you were starting to do this on your team, I promise you. Mobile responsiveness, dark mode, right, etc. You say, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, let's do this. Let's say I like number 4. I like number 4. Number 4 was the sim query builder. So I combine multiple event IDs. So it's going to make a new component, which is basically a new function, right? So now you can do this, and you're starting to see. I'm sure some of the light bulbs are going off here, but you're starting to see, right? It's making this for me. This is crazy, right? And yeah, it really is. So let's see what we got here. So we can have a checkbox for each event ID to allow the selection of multiple events. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna accept that. Look at that. So now, all right, I can choose multiple Windows events, and I can say generate query. Look at that. Windows event log security. As you see here, I can switch between Splunk and Sentinel. All right. So now I can work with two different tools. Maybe I'm working for an MSSP, right? And we have some clients that are in Splunk, some that are in Sentinel. I can make queries that help me look for activity in multiple environments. But you know what? Let's say I want to make it look better. So let's say, make this app beautiful, right? Beautiful and fun. Let's say, a pleasure to use. So this might break it, but let's just see, right? I may have to do some more troubleshooting or install some more dependencies. But again, I just want to make the app look, nicer than this is. So it's going to start to, do some stuff on the back end to make it styled better as well.
What does the UI/UX stand for?
Very good question. UI is user interface. So that's what you're seeing, right? All of the graphics, the search, right? The cards. Now, user experience is like, easy to use. Is it painful to use, right? You think about design, iconography, etc. That's all about your user experience. You don't want your users to abandon the application because it is difficult to use. So again, it's saying, we're going to help you with your inspiration here. Let's go ahead but you need to install a couple of dependencies here. But this one's going to be for motion. This one's going to be also give you some icons. So let's do that. Switch back here, paste this, press enter. All right, let's see what else we got here. Again, sometimes things break. So again, look at that. We've changed up the view a little bit. We now have a nice rounded search. So in its opinion, right? It says this is a much better interface. Again, you might agree or not agree, but you're seeing, what it's looking like. So let's do one more thing here. Let's do this. You know what? I'm going to say, let's go back here and say, update to look like this. And then, like I said, if you were to, actually take a look at these, I could go to these different, pages here, and you would see, these pages being updated as we're, making our changes, which is pretty cool as well. So again, it looks like it's updating everything here for us, updating the themes, which are, in fact, we've not checked the dark mode yet, but we'll go ahead and say, okay, let's accept here. And there we go. Look at that. Now we've got that blue. I think it's blue. But again, right? So dark mode not working yet. Looks like the icon is looking good, but we can focus on that later on as well. Anything that you want to see added to the application, any function that you think would be cool to be added, let me know in the chat. While you're thinking, I would say, okay, so Raul says add a sorting filter. Okay, let's do it. Let's say add a sorting filter. Good feature, Raul. All right, here we go. So we're going to lay for the event IDs. Looks like alphabetical or by number, by description. Okay. And as you're starting to see here, right? You're saying, you know what? I can keep adding and keep adding and keep adding. And that's when you get into the scope creep, right? When is it ever enough? But as you're starting to see here, right? This is all just thinking and talking to it. Okay. So let's press accept all and look at that. Sort by ascending. Very good feature request. Any others? Right, I'll add. Well, if you don't have any others, I'm just going to save this, right, as well. But you can see, let's see, can you add voice search? I could if I wanted to. Yeah. So this is Shad CN, and this is, when you're starting to get into your design mode, you can start to, saying, you know what, I could probably add some of this functionality into my program at some point, right? So what I could do is I could import this library, this framework, and then start to use some of these components in my own application, right? It's got its own color scheme as well. You said that could be pretty useful, right?
I have one to add.
Yes.
I was going to say multi-language support and social media.
Okay, let's see it. Let's add support for Spanish. Let's Let's test its chops. All right, so it looks like it's going to create a new file for translation. Very cool. Any other requests? We're getting close on time. Any others? Any last minute features before we freeze the code base?
I was gonna say enable offline mode.
Offline mode? Okay, let's accept that. Now, oh, look, right there, ES is at the top here. Let's see. Hey, look at that. Mejores prácticas de registro de eventos. Beautiful. I love it. All right, we'll try offline mode. Let's see if it's going to play nicely or break it. Yeah. All right, so it's saying, yeah, we can. So basically, this is going to make it a PWA, which is your progressive web app. So now I can take it with me on the road, which is pretty cool. So let me do that real quickly here. But as you're starting to see, right, your ideas are the application. Okay, so it says, let's see, create manifest. Okay, we've not done that one. Do I have next config.js? I do. Okay, and which is pretty cool. So technically, I could take it with me on the road as well. And it's saying, you know what, you probably should make an icon for your program as well, right? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, let's see. Yeah, Don, it's going to be recorded. You can watch it later on. All right. Any others? There might be room to squeeze in one more.
Yeah, I was gonna say AI recommendations.
Okay, and I could say, give me more context into the event IDs. I'm a new analyst, and I need to know what these are. Use AI to help me interpret. And then it's probably gonna say, you need to install the OpenAI backend, or you need to hook up your API into like the chat GPT, or into your other ones as well. I had a question in the last class about can it support your own local one? I don't know yet, but I'm probably gonna look into that. That way you can just, use your own locally AI without having to pay for the chat GPT. But looks like it is, yeah, so that's what I thought, right? It's saying, go ahead and install OpenAI. It's funny that you said that, because I have that on my own version. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut down this demo. Let me close this folder. Let me close folder. All right, goodbye. All right, so let me just show you Event Logger. So this is basically, one that I've made. I just kept going, right? Just like you saw me do before. This is local on my machine. So, I thought about the like AI thing as well. I said, yeah, this would be pretty useful. So let me do it. Recommended actions, that's a good one as well. Yeah, Koji, that's a great one. Yeah, what do I do with this data, right? How do I action it? So let me refresh here. Okay, so some of y'all are basically in my mind, right? So this is just me enhancing it, adding more features to it. So again, I got my search in here. I basically wanted to make it into like a tab interface for my users. I've mapped it to the MITRE ATT&CK framework as well. I can do some threat hunting as well, making hunting queries, export feature, data management. But I wanted to show you, let's do, this one. So in my version, I said, get more info, right? So if you look at the bottom here, it's going to hook into my API, which is called get info. And basically my get info is pulling straight from OpenAI, from ChatGPT, to get that information and to make it more relevant and more timely. Again, but I think, next thing we can do is, say, Koji says recommended actions. I think that's a great one. Multi-search as well. Yep, all the good stuff. Can you implement the fix by the AI itself, or like all in one fix? Oh, you're saying, yeah. Okay, so Tyrell, you're talking about doing some integration with like a SOAR tool, right? So if I had that set up, if I could type application through API to my endpoint, then theoretically I could, right, enable some of that orchestration that you're talking about. But that's not for today's class. But yeah, but
understood.
You get the idea. All right, y'all. But yeah, that is everything. So as you see, you can do a lot of stuff with it. Again, the instructions and more are all going to be in the GitHub. I hope you enjoyed this.